But I think I email every day, SMS 4 or 5 times a week. Attention is the ultimate commodity. These technology companies, they want your attention. The more of your attention they have, the more money they make. Is that if they can scare you and anger you, you will pay attention. My big strategy is to inspire you and engage you with content that is relevant and useful and fun. I think the goal is with email and SMS is like, how can you engage people? And unfortunately, or fortunately, you have to communicate with them a lot. If your automations are sub 30, I think you have work to do. If you're over 30, I think you're kicking ass. Most people do like 2 emails. It's like, dude, you gotta do more than that. I view profit in a greater, not just monetary. There's a karmic profit. There's how you feel about yourself and what you're doing.
Hello everyone, it's really great to have you here watching our video, podcast, or maybe listening. And it's not a thing that I do on a daily basis. Usually I run a company on this and do all that, SEO, CEO thing. But sometimes, being a leader of a company means that you do different things, etc. And today I have a great pleasure to have a conversation and dialogue with Ezra Firestone, a person who actually made his fortune from running a lot of e-commerce businesses, building SaaS to serve e-commerce businesses, and of course continue doing this. How many companies do you have now?
I have a lot. I have about 10 that I'm actively involved in operating, and I have more that I'm angel invested in. But I will say I am most recently a convert to Omnisend, baby. Let's go. Email, SMS. And you know what, dude? I've been in the game a long time. I've seen a lot of software. I've worked in a lot of software. I've worked with a lot of software teams. I have my own software, and I know how difficult it is to build a good product and then also build a good team that supports that product. Because it's not just the technology, it's the group of people who are working on it. And you guys are doing a wonderful job. I'm grateful to be a part of the journey and to have be using you guys for my brand. So thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for such a great intro, thank you for partnership, and I really appreciate it. And you know what's great and why I'm so happy to have you? It's one thing you can teach, share a lot of experience to what we talked prior to episode that you're not teaching, but you're sharing your experience with a lot of brand owners and nurturers, etc. At the same time, what I admire a lot is your life philosophy. So if we start with a little bit of your background and personal things. So I know that you brought, we speak here in Europe, yeah, for the context, and you brought your entire family here. Is it right for the efforts? You travel family. Is it the thing that you do?
I pretty much bring my dad with me wherever I go. And I bring my wife when she's willing to come because she's not super interested in marketing events, but being in Barcelona, going to Italy, she was like, all right, I'm coming on that trip. But yeah, I think, look, what are we doing this for? What is the point of all of this? For me, I think that the juice of life, the goodness of life, the real stuff, the value is found in intimacy, connection, and relationships. I think ultimately, when you look back on your life, you think about your family, your friends, your community, the experiences that you had. And all this work stuff that we're doing, while meaningful, while good, is in support of that, is to create resource to be able to do that. And so if I have an opportunity to spend time with someone that I love, I'm going to take it. I also have had a lot of death and a lot of intensity and a lot of trauma in my world. And I know that you're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised health. You're not promised a continuation on this journey. And so I want to maximize the time that I have to do things that are meaningful to me, which is being with my family and friends and community.
Right. Those trauma that you mentioned, I know few that happened recently in the past few years. So if we get back a little bit in your lifetime, so I know that you kind of grew in hippie community, which is pretty rare globally, and you speak really good words about it. Seems like you had a good experience there. On the other hand, you still left the community. So can you elaborate this? Why did you leave? Why didn't you continue living?
My physical science naturally you have to understand the hippie commune sort of thing that happened in America. In the 60s and 70s, these things popped up out of nowhere. There was 10,000 of them. And it was in response to the nuclear family, to the baby boomer generation, being born in the suburbs and coming of age, by the way, pre-AIDS, which was an STD that can kill you, and post-penicillin. So there's no STD that can kill you, hence the free love movement. These people came of age in the 60s and 70s, decided to buck the status quo, rebel against the nuclear family, going back to living in groups. But guess what? A group of people, even a company, it's hard to get along. How many groups of 2 people do you know that actually make it? Not many. And the ones that
statistics, so that's what's the bull.
That's people get married, right?
Yeah.
How many fail before they ever get married? And then of the people that actually do make it, How many are happy? It's difficult to navigate a relationship with jealousy, money, possessions, communication, sensuality, power dynamics, gender dynamics. Very complex. Now try to get a group of people together where it's not just one relationship, but it's relationships with multiple groups. These things just fall apart. There's not, of the thousands and thousands and thousands of communes that popped up in the 60s and 70s, there's about 4 that are still around. The place I grew up is one of them. I'm going to answer your question.
So your family still live.
My family still lives there. My mom lives there. My dad lives there. It's a wonderful place. My brother left. All the kids who were pretty much every kid except for like 2, about 100 kids came to this place, have left.
So why did you leave?
I was chasing something different. I was interested in, the world. I was interested in production. We didn't have a lot of money. I wanted to go make some money. I always thought I would end up back in some form of communal living situation because I would go to my friends' houses and the parents did not seem particularly happy. We maybe didn't have money. We maybe didn't have a lot of resources, but the people that I was around were happy. They had been researching for 50 years. How do you navigate relating? It doesn't have to be an intimate relationship, but how do you win at a relationship so that it feels good to both people? And it turns out, and this is why I'm good at marketing, communication is the key. It all comes down to communication. How good you are at communicating with another person, which is not what you say. It's what they hear. What did they actually hear? You have to get on that level, take responsibility for what they hear, and be willing to do what it takes to really have somebody hear you and really listen to them. So in marketing, it turns out conversion, which is what we all want. We want conversion. We want people to come and buy stuff from us. Conversion is just communication. Who's the most effective communicator? That's the best marketer. And that is actually why I'm such a good marketer, is because I was trained in communication from the time I was a small child. And this place was a wonderful place, but it was like, I wanted to go experience the world. I wanted to go try to make some money. I wanted to go have a life, and it wasn't going to be there. So I left. And hey, I still go back and visit. I love it. I'm really interested in group dynamics. I'm interested in communal support. Like the communes that are happening today in America are different from the ones in the 60s and 70s. It was like everybody would live together and share houses and stuff like that. Now there's an interesting movement. We don't have to talk about communes in this podcast, of sort of like intentional communities or co-living, where like, let's imagine a group of colleagues who all work in a company. They'll each buy a house in a cul-de-sac. So you live in a cul-de-sac, but everybody has a house, and you can kind of have like shared responsibility around raising kids. And so there's ways to get the value of communal living and communal support without necessarily sharing houses and stuff.
That makes sense. And I really love how you transform your like childhood experience to marketing. And yeah, so that's well, yeah, the life of hey, it's yeah. What is kind of like can you name like maybe 3, 4 tipping points that made Ezra who you are now?
Well, I think what's interesting about me is, this is not to get too woo-woo, but there is this thing called epigenetic genes that pass down over generations. And it's like, they'll do studies with mice where, because mice breed really quickly, so they can study generations. And they'll have like hawks flying over attacking the mice, right? So like birds that will fly over and attack the mice. They'll breed for 12 generations. 12 generations later, these mice have never had a bird fly over them and kill them. But if a shadow comes over them, they'll scatter. So like epigenetic stuff passes down, right? My great-grandfather, Abraham, he was a merchant. What he would do, he lived in, let me remember his name. Hold on a second. What was the name of the town? It wasn't Bratislava, Czechoslovakia. It was
in Europe.
It was in Russia. It was in Russia, Poland, Bulgaria. Okay. And what he would do is he would travel with a horse-covered wagon all the way to Vienna from his little town, which was a weeks and weeks journey. He would buy bulk material, cotton, wool. He would have his children in the back of that wagon. He would bring that back to his town. He'd have it made into shoes and clothing and stuff like that, and then he would sell it, right? So he was a merchant. He did that up until the war. War broke out, all that. He, ended up not making it to America. His son, Isaac, which is now my son's name, his son Isaac, who was in the back of that wagon, came to America after the Second World War, after the Holocaust, and manufactured clothing on the Lower East Side of Manhattan when all the Jews were selling schmatas, rags on the Lower East Side. They were in the garment business. And he made his money selling to people on Orchard Street. So his little merchant, it's like you had to come to his store on Orchard Street. My great-grandfather, you had to, be in his town where he brought his stuff. When I was growing up, the way that we made money, my dad and I, Jacob, my Isaac's son. So it's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, my father. The way we made money was we sold things at the flea market. So we would go to the flea market from the time I was 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. We'd build our tent. It wasn't a pop-up tent. You had to put that thing together. We'd put all of our merchandise out there and we would be selling. It'd be like, Gatorade and medicine and whatever we could get our hands on.
Hey, but I started saying you start selling at the age of 5. That's nice.
But I do the same thing that each of these generations before me did. One difference. They were limited by geography. I have not. My great-grandfather selling people in his hometown. My grandfather selling people on Orchard Street. My dad and I selling people at the flea market. I build my shop. I sell it to everyone in the world. But it's the same business.
Thanks to internet.
Thanks to the internet. I just got lucky to be born at this time where I could reach everybody. And so, I learned about margins. I learned about audiences. I learned about how to sell things. I learned about marketing, all from a very young age. We'd go to the flea market. We would work all day for we'd start at 5 a.m. We'd get home at 7 p.m. It was a hard, you did every weekend. We did every weekend. Okay. We might make $100, $200. And for us, that was a lot of money. It's like, maybe if we had a real crazy, amazing day, it'd be like $600. So that's when I learned to sell, and I realized, like physical products. I didn't know this was going to come back to me. I ended up in business in some other ways, but I found my way back to selling physical goods. And I think because I was imprinted as a flea market merchant.
Yeah, so sometimes things just come to you, and this is not by choice, and sometimes we say, I sell billman, etc. But if you look back, there's so much inherited and so much in your DNA or habitual things. Now, so talking about like business a little bit, so and then switching gears a little bit. So, you started at the age of 5. If someone is just starting their merchant life and maybe is thinking about starting business and now, so what one piece of advice would you give?
So the thing about selling is everybody thinks they need the best product in the marketplace. You don't. Ideally, you can eventually create the best product in the marketplace, but you just have to start. You know what wins? The best promise. Okay. The best promise wins the customer.
But if a product is shitty, so...
I'm not saying sell a shitty product. I'm saying find a product that is good enough. Go to the farmer's market. Find somebody who's selling candles. They've got the candle, they have the glass container, they've got the wax, they've got the label. Switch the label, put your own brand on it, white label it. This is how I started. I started drop shipping, then I moved to white labeling, then I moved to manufacture my own products. You got to start somewhere. Master marketing, master conversion, master funnels, master advertising, master making good promises. Get a product that can live up to the promise that you make. As you're making money, invest it back into making your products better. Go read all your competitors' Amazon reviews. See what people are saying is wrong with it. Change it so that your product has the things that people are unhappy about fixed. So like you can make your product better over time. You don't have to start with the best product.
Nice, which is really great approach. So even now that you have quite 10-ish companies that you are heavily involved on a weekly basis and a strategic advisor, etc. So how much of attention do you put in the product in comparison to marketing, if you can divide? Maybe even budget-wise, etc., or time-wise? Or
it depends on the company. Some of my companies, the products are kind of set and stable, and we've done that, so we're not doing a lot of product development. We're just scaling. My other companies...
So that means that scaling is more that's like to marketing.
Yeah, it's marketing, support, team, infrastructure, additional channels, that kind of thing. But I think ideally, if you're doing a company, you're ideally splitting a 50-50. You're continually making the product better and continually adding new offers. Because once you win a customer, you got to offer them more things. If they like you, if they trust you, if they ride with you, if they believe in you, and then you have something else that they might be interested in, they're going to buy it from you. I did this. I was on stage today at this event that we were at, and I was talking about, I just crossed $200 million in revenue from my own brand, which is kind of amazing. I had some bum off a couch in Brooklyn with no education can sell 200, can be compete with the biggest brands in the world, which means you can do this if you're just starting out. I'm not special. So $110 million of that 200 came from repeat customers, came from people coming back to buy from me because everybody comes to me for 3 products, my makeup, but they come back to me for my cosmetics, my skincare. They're not coming to me from that. I'm not getting customers in the door for that. But once they know me and they like me and they know I make good products, I can cross-sell on that. So ideally, you're doing research and development and continually making your product better. And by the way, that doesn't mean launching new stuff. You could just make the thing you have better. You could change the packaging. You could make it more sustainable. You could modify the formula. You could make it iteration. I call this the new and fancy technique, and it is one of the best techniques in product development. So it goes like this. You have one product that works. make a newer, fancier version of it. And I'll explain to you how this works. So I belong.
You have cosmetics, so it was much easier to innovate. Like, so okay, well, I mean, so let's say boom.
Let me give you an example that is a boom, and then I'll give you Boom's example. So I bought a cold plunge. In high school, I wrestled. And when you wrestle, you sauna and you cold plunge. But this is before cold plunging has become really popular. Everybody's talking about it. I knew I wanted one of these things before they even existed on the market. About 7 or 8 years ago, a company came out called Morosco. And it was like the first mass market cold plunge you could buy. You plug this thing in, it keeps the water cold, it filters the water, you can get in there and freeze yourself. It's fun. So I bought this thing. It's like 15 grand. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a box that makes water cold. They emailed me and they said, we have a newer, fancier version of this. It's quieter, it's colder. But it's like, dude, how much different is a box that makes your water cold? But they were like, give us your old one and we will give you the new and pay us some money. And we'll sell your old one to other customers and we'll take the money and we'll give you this new one. I went for it. I buy electric skateboards. Every year I get a newer, fancier version. It's the same thing. It's a skateboard that's electrically powered. In Boom, I had a best-selling stick, right? I just changed the color. New, fancy. Hey, you like this stick? I have this other color and it's a little bit more creamy. Like, it works in every market. You can do the new and fancy technique and it's easier than making a new product. You just iterate on the one you have, version 2. So product development, I would say most people in our business make a product and never think about it again. I'm always looking at, can I make my packaging more sustainable? Can I tell a story about how, you know what, guess what? I'm no longer using virgin resin, single-use plastics. I'm not polluting the world. I'm using recycled plastic. I'm no longer buying plastic wrap and bubble wrap to wrap my stuff in. I'm getting recycled paper. Like, you can do stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a very, very good piece of advice, yeah, that you should not innovate too much just yet.
I mean, you can innovate a lot too.
I guess an easier version like evolution over to revolution each and of it. Another examples, you save money at the same time. Branding works so well in your position as
quick advice for e-commerce businesses. Another example on Boom is I had a 2-ounce jar of goop. Wonderful, handmade, organic, but ultimately it's a jar with goop in it that you put on your face. Wonderful stuff. Face cream. I made an 8-ounce version, right? So I just made a bigger size. And then I took my product page and most people default to the cheapest option. I made the default variant, the 8-ounce version. Guess what? It's $64 versus $22. I dealt 36%
nice
more because I made it the default option. It's like, you can do stuff like that. You just
retention, but you still sell more, yeah? So people buy a lot. So they use under the shoe, so yes, they become.
The cool thing about this product is it's a scoop, so you scoop it out, so it's a full body thing. Yeah, so they use a lot of it. But yeah, retention is important, and retention is what Omnisend does, right? Keeps your community engaged, keeps them engaged with email and SMS, tells them stories, helps them like be resonant to you when you're not trying to sell them.
So we will come to email, that's for sure. I mean, we cannot. Well, yeah, of course, avoid this topic for sure. So skill levers is one of the kind of frameworks that you use, that you advocate for. And I think it's pretty unique. That's probably the thing that you invented, or the structure, etc. So if you can elaborate a little bit on this, and maybe some of our listeners have never heard about this. So what are the main points and why self-post?
So when you have a business, you got 3 ways you can grow it. Okay. You can get people to know that more new people to know that you exist. So you get more new customers in the door. You can get them to spend more with you while they're shopping. So the first is more new customers. That'll grow your business. The second is top of the funnel, awareness. Well, I'll tell you about the funnel in a second. But for now, let's talk about the 3 ways to grow a business. 1, get more new people. Number 2, get them to spend more with you. Higher average order value. So bundles, upsells, cross-sells. Because guess what? When somebody comes to your store, 8 out of 10 of them, 80% of the people who buy from you for the rest of your life, for the rest of your business, will never buy again. They're gone. So whatever they spent today, that's it. Now, if you have 40 or 50% repeat customer rate, it's because of Omnisend, and it's because 2 of those people bought 3, 4, 5, 6 times. But 2 customers out of 10 is all you get to keep, and then you got to remarket to them. Okay, so number 1, get more new customers. Number 2, get them to spend more with you. Number 3, get them to purchase more frequently. That is it. And what you were talking about was awareness, remarketing, and loyalty. So I kind of pioneered for digital marketing way back in like 2013, this concept of first you got to generate awareness, which is like, think about it, a funnel. Get people to know that you exist. Once they know that you exist and they've engaged with you, then you got to re-engage them, remarket them with ads, with emails, with SMS to get them to buy. And then once they purchase, that's loyalty, awareness, remarketing, loyalty. once they purchase, you have to keep them engaged. You have to deliver a wonderful product. You have to deliver a wonderful experience, and then you got to get them to buy again. So when I do marketing, I'm always thinking about what is my messaging for people who don't know about me? What is my messaging and ads and offers and merchandising for people who do know but haven't purchased? And then what is my messaging, ads, offers, merchandising, products for people who have purchased but I want to get to purchase again? So I kind of think about it in that way.
Budget-wise, what is the split?
Budget is probably going to be 70. It depends on the business. Depends on the business, but the budget is usually going to be 60 to 70% of your paid spend on awareness, 20% on remarketing, and 5 to 10% on loyalty. That's usually how it's going to go. Most of your money is going to be getting new people.
And then you talk remarketing is basically for the first time per buyers or remarketing for existing buyers as well.
So that's loyalty. Loyalty, it's technically remarketing.
So loyalty, so the paid remarketing for existing customers, you put and I put that as loyalty.
And I would put, for example, with email and SMS and Omnisend, I have my loyalty campaigns, my loyalty messaging, my loyalty merchandising. And it's different than my, what I call remarketing, which they're the same thing, right? They're just different segments of customers. I have my, Omnisend broadcasts, my Omnisend campaigns and automations specific to those folks who know about me but haven't purchased yet.
Mainly catch a little bit of this conversion part. So zip profile and click upsell, etc. So you have software that helps that as well. So I believe you use yourself and you strongly believe it on it. So maybe you can have like just a few examples on how does like this mechanics work? How do you think about this? Basically, so there's shopping cart.
There's that conversion, and then there's average order value optimization. Zipify is specifically an average order value optimization tool. It also helps with conversion, but the first thing with conversion is there's one concept that you have to understand with conversion. There's a couple, but there's one main one. I'll give you a few others. The first thing that someone has to understand when they land on your product detail page, because in e-commerce, the holy grail, there's a series of pages. They'd see an ad on social media. They land on your homepage. They get a pop-up from Omnisend being like, hey, give us your email and SMS. Then they make it to your product page. You have two goals in e-commerce. Get them to look at your products, get them to give you your information. That's it. Those are the goals. So once they're on your product detail page, this is where conversion happens. This is where they click the add to cart button and go through the checkout. They have to understand by that point. If they don't understand by that point what the ownership benefit of the product is, your host. Ownership benefit is like, what am I going to become, be perceived as, get, obtain, have, feel when I own this thing? What is the end state after this is my product? How am I going to feel? And you can have other people tell them how they feel, but it's like they have to understand what is the ownership benefit. So conversion comes down to how well do they understand the ownership benefit? How compelling is that for them? Not generally, but like, are they a firefighter and do they need to clean their nasal passage after they go fight fires? That's the ownership benefit for Navage, which is one of my brands, for that avatar. Are they a lawn care person who has a lawn that they mow and get all this stuff in their nose while they're mowing their lawn? That's a different ownership benefit for that particular avatar. Okay, so there's ownership benefit. Then with conversion, in this a modern day and age, and Omnisend is great about this, you have incentive and you have deadline. Unfortunately, in today's world, and you guys may have different data than this, but the last data I checked was the average adult gets 352 emails a day. A day. So they're bombarded with messaging. And it's like, how are you going to break through? Well, one, you've got really good things to say. We didn't talk about that. But two, you have an incentive, a reason for them to buy now, and a deadline.
So I would maybe, so it's super scary number. So I would disagree to some point. Okay, they have 330 something attempts to bombard. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So then not all get through exactly. So all the spam, phishing attempts, etc., included. So that's the big number where it come from. But like enough, like Gmail, Microsoft, stuff filters out and then basically narrows down to the ones that are relevant. Yes. For you. So that's what kind of we as marketers we pro. California, Privacy Act, and then GDPR, etc. But this thing does a good job. So the less spam, that means with more attention to real brands or brands that you as a consumer you trust, you believe in, and you are willing to engage. Yeah. So this is a massive amount. Just happy enough it's being filtered out with that.
So just to touch on Zipify. So you have conversion, right? They have to understand the ownership benefit. They have to have some kind of incentive. Maybe it's a discount. Maybe it's some kind of merchandising. And they have to have a deadline. Those are going to be the three things that are going to most help you with conversion when it comes to e-commerce. Then there's average order value optimization, which is how much do they spend with you when they do convert? And for that, the best thing you could do, if you do one thing, introduce bundles. Introduce a bundle, give people an opportunity to get the same product they were going to buy along with other things at a discount. I cannot tell you, every sales page that I do, I put the bundles at the top. And you make a lot of money from these bundles, a lot of margin. There's also the concept of basket builders. So basket builders are items that are relevant to everything in your catalog. So for Navage, I have a cleaning kit. You buy a Navage, you need a cleaning kit. You know, for Boom, I have like my basket builder is actually that all over moisturizer. It's like, hey, everyone else tells you need a cuticle cream, an eye cream, a nose cream. No, your skin is all one organ. You need one moisturizer. No matter what you're buying from me, this product is relevant to it. I offer it to you in the checkout. I offer it to you as a bundle. I offer it to you post-purchase. So all throughout the sales cycle, product page, shopping cart, post-purchase thank you page, I'm making additional offers for items that are relevant to try to get you to spend more along the way.
Perfect. It seems like, listening to you, like here today and like your other interviews, etc., makes things like it's also well structured. Kind of you think in frameworks, you run business in frameworks. So, but actually, like in reality, like to be honest, look, is this like the frameworks that you have that you apply to every?
I'm the top of the tornado. Okay, you ever think about the tornado? Yeah, I'm at the top. Chaos, intensity.
But it didn't look like you. Well, see, that's what you was saying. But
then you're saying bottom of the tornado. That's my team.
So yeah, but you still like, I mean, that's what you declare. But you had tornado all over the place. But then you start talking. You start being very well structured.
I understand. Okay, what I'm doing, and I understand what has to happen. I am not responsible for implementing it. Okay, I'm responsible for. So there's a difference between driving.
You used to. I use everything.
Yeah, but I've grown a lot. And one of the things that I learned is that you can, if the goal is scale, if the goal is growth, you only have 8 hours a day, and all of us have blind spots. I have blind spots. I don't know everything. So you got to get other people in there who can support you where you have blind spots. I'm not organized. I am the least organized person you have ever met. I'm just not organized. But I have a lot of really organized people around me who come and make project charters and track everything. So it's like, you don't have to do everything yourself.
But you have frameworks still, yeah? You are no digital training. Okay, so each time you acquire a new business, because I know you acquire more short build now.
Yeah, just bought this company here.
Yeah, save solid, but no, yeah, that's migrated to Omnisend recently, so we can talk about this as well. So, okay, you buy and save sleeve, so basically you apply the frameworks you have. So you do put the team as well? Is that the tip? If I try the architecture,
well, yeah, we brought a spouse architecture agency to run ads here. We brought in Zipify to be the upsells here. We switched out the Amazon agency to an Amazon agency that I used in the past. We hired a person because what I could see was that the founders were a little overwhelmed doing everything themselves. And it would be a lot more efficient if we had somebody else actually executing on the ideas they had. So I brought in a team member. So I just look at like what needs to be optimized. How are the founders doing? Where's their room for scale? And I use my experience to like help with that. And yeah, I've developed frameworks because for me, like I need simple things. I need to understand, okay, this is my ad copy framework. Let's come up with ad copy that fits this framework for this brand. So I try to develop systems as I go.
And those frameworks are pretty much universal, as that would say. Yeah, pretty much. I had to with like Zipify and then CSC is probably a little different.
Yeah. I mean, but structurally, it's like,
okay,
if you just think about ad copy, right? Structurally, I want to communicate ownership benefit. I want to claim my own value. I want to make statements that I believe as a brand and my customers also believe. Like I have these things I'm trying to communicate, and I do it in all brands.
So would you do like statements that find whatever works for you and then scale it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the way that I do things is not necessarily the right way. It's just my way. It works for you. Yeah. If there's something that works for you, do more of it. But also what I find with entrepreneurs, no offense to the entrepreneurs listening to this, oftentimes they are very taken with their own ideas. So they have very strong opinions, and they're good opinions, but they're not always open to other perspectives. And if you want to be great, you have to be willing to work hard. You have to have good ideas, but you also have to be willing to be coached. What does every Olympic athlete have? Every coach. You got to be open to other ideas. You got to be open to letting other people get in there and give you ways of doing things. And like it turns out, I always thought I'm the best person to run ads. I'm the best person to develop products.
So is it a thing you learned, or is it a thing that you had? Like
it's part of the commune thing.
Okay,
which is
how you learn range of 20. You were already accepting your opinions,
and you learn from a very early age the value of other people's perspectives. They can see things you can't see. They have vantage points you can't see, and you also learn you don't have to do it all by yourself. It's easier to include people. It's easier to bring people up. This is an issue that a lot of entrepreneurs have. My way is the right way. Nobody else has any good ideas. I'm gonna micromanage. It's like I've always been like, hey, the more the merrier. Let's make it happen. Share. Generosity. You know the interesting thing about Zipify? Zipify, I was going to go bankrupt trying to build it. This was 2013. I did not have the kind of money I have now. This is 12 years ago. I was just starting out. I was making good money. I dumped about $200K, $300K into building Zipify. Hadn't even launched it yet. And that was like an insane amount of money for me at the time. And what I realized was that my partners, who I had used in the past to do development, they weren't just doing what I asked them to do. They were bringing intellectual property to the table. They had ideas. And I was like, my biggest issue here is paying for development. These guys are making, I don't know, at the time, I think it was $35 an hour. So I went to the owner of the company and I said, hey man, I could pay you $35 an hour and you could build this thing for me and then I can go turn it into a really successful company, or you could take half the company and give me development for costs. I'll do marketing, I'll do support, I'll do everything. You build the product, we'll do it together. He's now 50, from that point, we went 50-50. It's now a $10 million a year ARR, 30% EBITDA margin brand for many, many years now. I would much rather a smaller piece of a bigger pie. I'd much rather somebody in there to collaborate with me. And a lot of people are against business partnerships. The longer I'm in business, the more I believe in business partnerships. Let's do a collaboration. Let's both bring our ideas to the table. Less responsibility for me, more upside. I can do what I'm good at. You can do what you're good at. Like it took me a while to get there. Initially, I wanted to own everything and I wanted to.
How many years did?
I think probably 10. Yeah, because I started in business around 2005. By about 2015, I was deep into partnerships. But it was like, what I was trying to do,
Continue. So basically, it was a greed. They were sweet.
it was a little bit of a greed thing where it was like, I really felt scarce on money. And so I wanted as much as I could get. And so I was like, I'm going to try to retain as much equity as I can. And then I realized once I started to be a little bit successful, I kind of relaxed a little bit. And I was like, you know what? It's way easier if I have support, if I have other people's ideas. And look, you're going to butt heads. There's going to be conflict. That's part of it. Communicate through it. It's like, you're not going to make it through a partnership without any kind of conflict. You have to know that's part of the.
How do you do that? Do you have a secret sauce for that to go through?
Look, I have a few frameworks. So one of the things that happens in relationships of any kind is you end up with a lot of conflict around expectations and standards. So as an example, okay, I'll just give you a simple example in my own personal life. My standards, my hygiene standards for the bathroom are lower than my wife's. My wife would not like hair from my shaving in the sink. For her, that is disgusting, and no, that will not stand. For me, if I shave the little hair in the sink, it's like my standards are lower than hers in that area, and her expectation is a clean sink. And so we have to communicate about that. And so she's like, look, you're not living up to my standards here and expectations, and this will not fly. Of course, I want to give her everything that she wants. I will change my behavior. So it's just like a simple example of my personal relationship. But like in a business partnership, if expectations are not very clear, it's like, I expect that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. You expect that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And if you're not doing that or I'm not doing that, we got to have a way to communicate about it. And by the way, what's the level of standard that you expect me to do? Do you expect me to check our ads every day, optimize them, like you'd be doing iterative testing? Like what's the standard that your expectations are at? Because misaligned expectations and not living up to somebody's particular standards in a given area is where conflict happens.
Put those expectations on paper and you start new. Okay.
As much as you can. Some stuff you have to
love it. It's written somewhere.
100%. And I also believe in assigning responsibility. You are responsible for advertising. I will give you all my ideas. I will support you. I will ask you to do things a certain way, but at the end of the day, while you're at the end of the line, you own that, and you get to make the final decision, and I'm going to live with it. Unless it's catastrophically terrible, but I'm going to give you that, trust and that benefit as my partner that you make the final decision in this area. It's your area. Listen to what I have to say. Take it into account, but it's your area. Unless there's some like real serious flagrant issue, and then you have to actually let them do it. And it turns out people are pretty fucking amazing. They do some pretty amazing work. They create some wonderful things if you give them freedom and autonomy. And that's something you just have to practice.
And about those expectations, I assume you're familiar like with Warren Buffett. Then he was asked about what is the secret sauce of a happy marriage.
What do you say?
Low expectations.
Low expectations? No, I think high expectations. I think clear expectations.
Yeah, but I agree. Like clear expectations probably is more important than high. But maybe then if you have too high expectations, then
yeah, well then you might run to somebody else. But as long as there's an agreement up front, you make a deal and then you honor the deal. You got to honor the deals that you make. If you're not, because the issue that a lot of people have is they won't honor the deals they make with themselves. I'm not drinking soda anymore.
Yeah.
And then they're drinking soda. It's like, if you can't honor the deal that you make with yourself, how the fuck are you going to honor a deal you make with someone else? So one of the ways that I know I'm out of alignment in my life is if I find myself not honoring the deals that I've made with myself. Red flag. Something is going on. Either one, I need to check the shelf life on the deal that I made with myself and decide if I really like that deal or not. Maybe I want to change it. Or two, if I'm not honoring it, why? What's going on? Why did I make this deal with myself in the first place? Okay, I still agree with that. Why am I unwilling to honor it?
Does it happen all the time?
No, but it does happen. One of the things that I have, I think is one of my secret sauces, and and this is a practice, it's a muscle. It's something you can flex. There's actually a book on it, a book called Willpower, which I recommend reading, is willpower.
Willpower.
I love a good willpower challenge. I once drank water for 19 days straight in the jungle of Costa Rica, just 19 days of water, nothing else. I do not recommend this experience, but it was a willpower challenge and I wanted to do it. It's like, whatever, if we say we're going to do something, you and I decided we were going to do a partnership, right? Have I done everything I said I would do? I have, right?
Yeah.
I will, whatever the thing is, I will do it. If it's like, okay, we're deciding we're going to run 3 miles 3 times a week, I will do it. We're decided we're going to check our ads every day. We're going to go get influencers and ambassadors. We're going to make new videos. I'll make it happen. I will do the thing we said we're going to do. And I will work at it and I will do my best and I will ask for help. Another thing that entrepreneurs have a hard time with is asking for help. It does not mean you're weak. It does not mean that you're not smart. It just means you have a blind spot in a particular area and someone else is good. That is one thing I've been willing to do from the beginning. Ask for help. Hey, I'm not doing well here. I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? And people are happy to help you. So if you're willing to ask for help and you actually do the things you say you're going to do, don't have to do a lot of them, but if you just do them, then consistently over time, it results in success.
Perfect. And talking about partnerships, our partnerships that you mentioned. Yeah. So Flea. So this is a brand you invested recently. Isn't that correct? Yeah. Well, why didn't you choose?
So I look at some things with brands. Well, number one is, do I believe in the product? I was a user of this product. I was using it on the web and I've been buying this product for 8 years or something.
So you have a customer.
Yeah, well, my customer. They saw me on a webinar and they were like, hey man, that's our product. Like, we're taking their course. And then, over the time we talked and they said, hey, we're kind of like looking for some guidance and we're open to investment. We know that you invest in the brands. What do you think? I flew out, I met with them. I liked what I saw in terms of their average order value, their lifetime customer value, their profit margin, what they believed in, how they were making their products. And I was like, okay, I can get on board with this. I love the product. I'm a user. And so I joined up with them. And one of the things that I saw, I'm not going to mention the brand that they were at before you guys, was that they could do a lot better when it came to behaviorally dynamic emails and SMSs, campaigns, single time, start and stop campaigns of sale events, merchandising events, giveaways. And I thought, this is an area for optimization or improvement. So I called you guys up and said, hey, will you help us get signed up? You guys got us signed up, got us integrated, and now we're kicking ass.
Yeah, perfect. So how was like a migration process? I'm not sure how did you
migration also
maybe what did you do? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Migration technology sucks. Yeah. It's a pain in the ass, no matter where you're moving from what to what. But I will say, hey, we're getting inboxed. Our open rates are better, our click rates are better. We're happy. Look, here. If I was going to complain, I'd say it took longer than I wanted it to. But you know what? Everything in business takes twice as long and costs twice as much. No matter what you think, it's going to take twice as long and cost twice as much. So did I want the migration to happen faster? Did I want your team to work faster and my team to work faster? Yeah. But okay, so it took longer. But we're up and running and it's going well, so I'm not complaining.
Perfect. That's okay. Yeah. So any kind of feedback maybe you got so far, except of migration? Yeah, I think it's brave for me to ask this question. Yeah, because we don't like to. I promise we'll not cut this.
Yeah, I'm talking about. There's a few things where it's like one thing we wanted to do was we wanted to make a segment. We wanted to take an audience and segment it into 3 groups, and we had to like download and upload. There wasn't like an easy. I don't have this. My team was complaining about this. They were like, you have to tell them to fix this. I think they already sent it to your team, but there was something to do with like ease of creating a particular segment to market to. It was a pretty complex segment, but like I think there was something there. Otherwise, I like your WYSIWYG. I like your user interface. I like your tagging. I think you guys have great prop. I don't have a lot of, by the way, we're putting some volume through it. So you're holding up. I will happily complain when the time comes. I don't have any other complaints other than the one complaint that my team had, which was around building a particular segment. But
But it's always great to receive customer feedback, and that is how we improve a product constantly, without a
Open little bit from instrument is about software is it's a never ending rabbit of
because sometimes my friends, who are outside the software business, etc. I mean, you have tens and tens of developers. Why do you need that for? I mean, you had a product, so we just keep selling that. You say, oh no, man, oh no, it never stops.
software is hard. The hardest business I've ever done. Available.
I just don't continue doing this.
It's a great business. Look, for me, it's like, is the business adding value to the world? Yes or no? Is it profitable? Yes or no? If the answer is yes to both of those things and I'm involved, I'll keep doing it because I want to generate resource. I want to make money. I want to be able to use that resource towards good things in the world, taking care of myself, take care of my family, take care of my community, protecting waters, protecting lands, things that are meaningful to me.
Perfect. And let's expand a little bit to email in general. So what is your email philosophy? You touched like more.
My email philosophy is do it a lot more than you think you should.
Like said twice per day?
Yes. If you can. During sale events. Not all the time. But I think I email every day. SMS 4 or 5 times a week.
For the entire, no, but you segment. That's what you meant.
Yeah, and it's segments. But I mean, to my if you have opened or clicked in the last 120 days, you're probably getting an email from me every day. Because you're not going to open and click all of them. You're not going to see all of them. But like, I think in business, it's about aggregating a group of people and having them paying attention to you. Attention is the ultimate commodity. I mentioned this on stage today. These technology companies, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Google, they want your attention. The more of your attention they have, the more money they make. And unfortunately, what they've discovered is that if they can scare you and anger you, you will pay attention. So their big strategy is to figure out how to get you pissed off and scared so you'll stay paying attention to them. My big strategy is to inspire you and engage you with content that is relevant and useful and fun and interesting and engaging and cool and dramatic so that you'll pay attention to my brand and enjoy and have a relationship with my brand and also a relationship with anyone who represents my brand. I'm now a representative of the Omnisend brand, right? So I want your subscribers to have a relationship with me where they believe in what I'm sharing with them, that they know that it's coming from my real experience in my real businesses. So anyone who's a representative of my brand, who's an influencer, who's an ambassador, who's a content creator, I want my audience to know who they are and have a relationship with them. At Boom, Cindy died, right? My business partner died. Her best friend and one of my very close friends who saw us build this whole company from the ground up just turned 56, has silver hair, understands what we're trying to say, is the perfect mouthpiece, avatar, influencer. She's now doing videos for me, talking about pro age, so it's like, I think the goal is build a relationship with a group of people and have that group of people, yes, know who you are for your products, but also know what you stand for, know what you believe in, know what you're interested in, know what you think is funny, know your viewpoint on the current events in your industry, right? Like in our industry, a current event is fucking AI. AI is insane, right? What do we think about it? How are we embracing it? How are we not embracing it? How are we building it into our products? How are we using it? It's like our audience needs to know where we stand on that because they're interested in. And so I think the goal is with email and SMS is like, how can you engage people? And unfortunately, or fortunately, you have to communicate with them a lot because maybe there's not 352 communications they're getting every day, but there's a lot of them. And I want mine to be there. And I want it to be one that they
understand. Yeah, this is a very great piece of advice, and thanks. The person who's done a lot and who's really, really great in e-commerce. So
I just for any of my email lists that you will see, I sent a lot.
Yeah, I know, but this is what we'll keep saying to our customers. I mean, always send a little bit more than you think that you should, etc. And look, campaigns versus automations. How do you think about those? How much?
Campaigns is going to do 70% of your revenue.
And you're 13. That's what you aim. I aim because on average we see that like 40% is coming from automations. That's always
your team is doing better than my team. Yeah, your customer is doing better than my brands. We do about 70-30 across my brands. We're pretty aggressive with our campaigns, and we run a lot of promotional events. And our automations, if your automations are sub 30, I think you have work to do. So if you're over 30, I think you're kicking ass. I think if your email and SMS revenue is sub 30%, you got work to do. If it's over 30%, I think you're doing a great job. Some brands are 40, 50, 60. My brands tend to sit in that sort of 30 to 40% total revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay. And it's retention, it's very important. And like how many automations you were?
A lot. I got pre-purchase welcome sequence. I got abandoned cart. I got initiated checkout. I got post-purchase. I got post-purchase for 2-time buyers. I got post-purchase for 3-time buyers. I got win-back sequences. I got happy birthday sequences. I got a lot.
Made.
I got behaviorally dynamic sequences. You view the product, and I know who you are because I have your IP address. You get a browse abandonment. The more, the better.
Yeah, the ladies and gentlemen, all the marketers, this is a great piece of advice coming from Ezra Firestone. The more is the better. As let me tell you, what automations are very important because this is again the chance that we have to really to help our customers to send more automations. Like 2 is not enough, 3 is not enough.
Here's the other that you mentioned. In those automations, guess what? My abandoned cart sequence goes on 14, 15, 16, 17 days. Once the open rate drops below 20% and their click rate drops below a 0.5 point, okay, see, chins that emails up. As long as I got a higher than 20% open rate and a higher than a 0.5% click rate, I'm keeping that thing going because they're still engaging.
Absolutely.
Most people do like 2 emails. It's like, dude, you got to do more than that.
Retouched. Yeah, so we already mentioned that you're aiming like 30 to 40% of your revenue to come from retention. How long do you have kind of like way of thinking here? How long one customer like contacts? Because that's what we know. The bigs will be getting eroded, yeah, for the time like for 12 months, for 24 months, and then active contacts become inactive. So you have any kind of a goal here or a set targets?
It depends on the business. Okay. And it depends on the content. It's like Navage is a much less engaged audience because it's a one-time purchase with a subscription. It goes up during, it's seasonal. It really depends on the business. But I will say that, you know, a 90 to 120 day engaged audience is mostly who you're going to send to. But guess what? If somebody engaged in the last 365, I'm not suppressing that. I'm keeping them. And then during Black Friday or Cyber Monday or some big event, I'm going to also mail an SMS, you know, from 120 days to 365 days and try to get them, win them back. I've got another automation I have is called the sunset flow. If it's been 120 days and you have a clicked or open, I'm trying to get you back. I'm trying to win you back. And if you don't, I'm going to pull you aside, pull you out of that daily, that sort of main list and have you over here on the side. And then if it goes a year and you haven't opened or click, I'm going to suppress you.
Got it. You mentioned subscription. How big of your business is subscription, etc.? Do you still believe in it? Because math was kind of a very, very hot topic like 4 or 5 years ago, etc.
I mean, it depends again on the business. For my cosmetic business, I have no subscription. No subscription. Don't need it. Okay. I follow up with them. I run a lot of campaigns, a lot of sale events. For my for this business, there's no subscription opportunity. For Navage, big subscription's huge because you got to refill your pod. So it's really about the product. But do I believe
it? A subscription, maybe it's probably is kind of a usual suspect to rent situation.
Wow, not for women over 65.
Okay, got it.
For Gen X, Millennial, and Gen Z, subscription. They understand it. They know how to use the technology. They know how to update it. My audience cannot figure that technology out. They can't figure out the apps. It's a nightmare. I'd rather it's too much customer support and too many complaints, and they also have been burned. The baby boomers have been on forced continuity. They've been screwed over by supplement companies. They are anti-subscription. They don't like it. Gen X, it's different. Millennials, it's different.
Got it. So do you have any business?
I don't share that business publicly in terms of talking about the brand, but I have 2 very heavy subscription companies. I love subscription, but people think you need subscription. You don't.
Okay.
You don't need it. It's a great thing to have if you even get it.
Mm-hmm. But even let's switch gears one more time to switching a little bit to your experience, personal experience, and business related experience. So one of the things we talked and you gave a lot of piece of advice, and I knew Cosmo mentioned and your slogan or your credo is self. There was unselfishly or you have the profit. Yeah, so kind of those two dissonate a little bit. It's usually people who want to profit, they are pretty selfish, and so. How do
you can certainly profit without serving the world. There's a lot of people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I view profit in a greater, not just monetary, right? There's a karmic profit. There's how you feel about yourself and what you're doing. There's how you communicate to your friends and community about what you're doing. It's like, for me, profit is greater than just money. And my viewpoint is that serve the world unselfishly and profit is not a mandate. I'm not telling you to do it. I think it's a description. I think it is a description of what happens. When you are in a role of service, unselfishly, truly to serve, you profit in the act. And then profit comes back to you. And so I think that's actually just the way it goes. And then, yes, I try to have all my businesses be making products that are wonderful, that are serving a community, that aren't damaging the world. And I try to be profitable. I try to make money so that I can continue to do it, make better products, pay my team better, take money for myself and my family. But I think it's more of a description of how things work. I think when you are in a role of service, you profit in that act, period, as a human being.
I love what you did on the stage earlier today in the conference. You said, okay, but everyone who sells a shit, so you can leave a. It was like, do you say, I will share a lot of great piece of advice, but only for those who have some valuable products for the community.
If you're selling some fucking blacklight flashlight manufactured by child slave labor in some fucking suicide net factory in China, fuck off. I don't want you to use my stuff. I don't believe in that. I don't think that you, especially if you live in the West, it's like, dude, you got food and shelter. You don't need to be doing that. You could figure out a way to make something truly good. You could invest a little more. And it's interesting, but it's like when people are hungry, when people don't have, they're willing to play in very gray areas in order to get satiated. Once they're satiated, most people look around and say, okay, how do I do better? How do I be better? How do I serve? How do I help people around me? So it's like, it tends to stem from feeling like you don't have enough scarcity. You're scarce. So you just do whatever you got to do. And it's like, okay, I have compassion for that. And it's actually a better strategy in the long run to sell something good. Because then if you sell some shitty thing, you're not going to get a repeat customer. And then what was the point of doing all the work to win a customer in the first place if you're never going to get them back again? It's actually a smarter strategy to sell a good product.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. So that's what they said with Admire philosophy a lot as well. But some of the listeners, especially maybe kind of younger people, so say, okay, it's easier for him to talk. He's rich, he started on Westwood Life, etc. So,
look, dude, I worked a fucking full-time job, 40 or 50 hours a week, and then I went home all night and worked all night on my internet businesses, and it took me about 10 years until I was making any real money. I grinded. So it's like, I am not an overnight success story. I just been around a long time and have now been successful for, let's call it 12, 13 years. But I had a decade before that of grinding and it not working and having to work jobs and going bankrupt. I'll tell you, one of you asked me, where's some pivotal moments that have shaped me as an entrepreneur? One time in about 2007, I bankrupted my wife and I. We didn't have any money anyways. We had $5,000 to our name total, but I lost it all on a business I was trying to make work, which was an ebook business. And I had become emotionally attached to the brand. And I was unwilling to see that it wasn't working. And I wasted all of our money. And then she was a yoga teacher making $30 a class or something. So she had to support us on our yoga teacher earnings. I had already quit my job. I was doing good in entrepreneurship. I quit my job. And then I bankrupted us. I had to go get a job again. And it was what I realized was you can't be emotionally attached to the projects. You have to look at the numbers. You have to look at how it's going, and you have to be willing to walk away if it's not working. Now, if you haven't put a year or 2 or 3 into it, you can't yet walk away. You have to give it time to work also. So there's that dichotomy of have I really given it my all? Have I given it long enough? This thing I've been working on for 2 years, and it was very clear. It was never going to work. Product market fit wasn't there. The product was kind of shitty. But I couldn't see it. And so...
Okay, so that's what it is. Now you say that it was so clear that probably you being in...
I couldn't see it because I wanted it to work so bad. I just did not want to let it go. I was emotionally attached to it. I'm no longer emotionally attached to the businesses. If it's not going, I'm okay, hey, I tried. And look, you're going to take swings. It's not always going to work. Even today, not every business that I do works. I got pretty high ratio at this point because I have a lot of competitive advantages. I have money, I have time, I have experience, I got a team. I have a lot of, but it's you're going to have to take a couple swings before something works.
So that moment of 2007 summit that you mentioned, was it the most difficult moment in your business level? Or real life?
No, the most difficult moment was probably when Cindy died. Because
full business point.
Yeah. And we were huge at that point. We were tens of millions of dollars scaling. We were having so much fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, with equal particles. And we started it together in 2010. And then it was a sudden death. And it was just whoa. She was a really important figure in my life, a second mom. I had moved to New York at 17. I moved in with her. We built this thing together. That was hard. And then it was also hey, this one big success, am I going to be able to replicate it? Can I do this again? It was you start to doubt a little bit, maybe this was just this one special thing. And so that was hard.
Okay, so who was operating?
I was operating. I kept operating. I had to, do a bunch of pivots, but we made it work.
Okay, so what helped you in that first time?
Family, friends, community, prayer and spirituality. Also the challenge of figuring it out. I like to figure stuff out. So like, I'm right, here's a challenge.
But did you get to a point that maybe you had doubts about yourself, or was it like, okay, I will sort it out?
Here's an interesting bell, but interesting thing about entrepreneurs is, and men in general. So, I talk about, hey, women are told that their value stems from youth and beauty, and women are sold this idea that their life is pretty good till about 35, and then it's kind of all downhill from there. Anti-age, anti-wrinkle, Botox, tuck it in, tighten it up, dye your hair. They get all this messaging, right? That youth and beauty is where their value comes from. Men receive the messaging that their value stems from production. The more money you make, the more valuable you are. The more you produce, the more valuable you are. And so in general, women doubt their attractiveness and men doubt their ability to produce. And men who don't produce tend to be looked less favorably upon as they age. George Clooney can be 70 years old in a movie with a love interest who's 25 because he's suave and debonair and rich. You can't do that with somebody who's like, broke or whatever. So, okay, my own view of myself has never been tied to how my businesses do. And that has saved me. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are up and down in the way they feel about themselves is how their business is doing. And if the business isn't doing good, they feel shitty about themselves. If the business is doing good, they feel like they're winning. My value stems from, am I walking through the world in integrity with my own moral compass? Am I treating the people in my life in a way that I feel good about? Does my relationship with my wife feel good? Am I showing up to that with the kind of intention and deliberacy and enthusiasm that I want to? Am I showing up as a father? It's related to other things. And so whether the business works or not, it's like, I want my businesses to work because I want access to resource, because I want to use that resource to take care of the community where I grew up, do things. But it's like, if it doesn't, I have what you can't buy, which is I feel good about myself and how I'm walking through the world and the things that I'm doing. I believe in what I'm up to and the way that I'm showing up in the world. And ultimately, I don't need money for that. I was poor before I could be poor again. So I think it's like, that is what Anna's saying. Yeah, I could at it. Sure. I don't need money. I like money.
What is the most expensive thing you have, like vanity thing? Do you have like supercar?
Yeah, so in the supercar. I believe it. I have it's a funny story about this AMG. I had the AMG GT 2021. That expensive. Yeah, 160, 170. It's like it's expensive Porsche. I couldn't bring myself to buy it. I could afford that thing for years. I just couldn't do it. Am I going to be the kind of asshole who has a fucking $170,000 sports car? I don't even want the kind of attention you get when you drive that around. Is why I don't have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari that's all colored like an M&M. I don't want people to notice me. An AMG's got hips. It's black. It's sleek. It doesn't draw quite as much attention. Anyhow, finally, we sold Boom in 2020, 70% of it for like a really large chunk of money. My wife was like, buy the fucking car, dude. Just buy the car. You want the car. But like, but I'm interested in things that I actually will use and appreciate. I don't have a bunch of stuff I don't use. I had a coffee machine. I had the $4,000 La Morosco Linnea Mini. Maybe it was like $5,000. Mm-hmm. Then I stopped drinking coffee. I gave it away. It's like, I don't just
Give it away.
I gave it a charge. I'm a big fan of passing things on. I'm not going to charge people. So, friends of me. But I think it's really wonderful to have things that you use that are meaningful. If you're not using it, because you can get caught in this like sort of acquire this, acquire that. It's like, and then it's empty and it's meaningless and you don't like use it. And so I don't want stuff I don't use. But yeah, I have a lot of fancy shit. I built a house. I bought 170 acres of land. I'm interested in consumerism and consumption in a good way. Sure.
What is the main need of money for you?
Contribution to the world. Contribution to my world, to my people, to my community, to,
You say like in the interviews that you have to take care of 60 people.
I mean, they're gonna be fine without me. But yeah, I mean, look, I grew up in this place with a bunch of people who were sort of living an alternative lifestyle, experiment. And one of the things they were not focused on was how to make money. And now they're all in their 60s, 70s, 80s. And, money's a useful tool when you're aging, for medical care, for making your buildings age friendly, for all kinds of stuff. And so that's one of the things I'm really interested in you contributing to, is them being able to live a really pleasurable life at home.
Is it easier to run small business or to run multiple business of hundreds of millions?
I mean, look, there's a perfect size, okay? This is the perfect business for most people. It is under 20 million and above 5 million. Because when you're 5 million to what's called 15, your team is a bit, most of the time.
Yeah. You have to do a lot.
You have a high profit margin. and it's not crazy stressful. You don't have investors. You don't have all the drama. It's like, that's kind of the perfect business. $10 million a year at $2 million in profit. Do you really fucking need more than $2 million? What are you doing? You don't. You don't need more than that. You can travel everywhere you want. You can buy everything you want. You can take care of your family. You can contribute to your church. You do whatever you want. You can live a wonderful life on, $1 million. Like, you don't need, that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But like, and also, I'm interested in more wealth than that. So I'm going for hundreds of millions. I'm shooting for the stars. I'm trying to create a lot of wealth. But I think
That's also declare like 100 million post-tax.
100 million liquid after taxes. That's my sort of bargain going for. I'm getting it. Yes, but I think the most pleasurable, most fun business to run is probably a $10 million business at a 20% EBITDA margin.
What social contributions do you make?
I believe in anonymous giving.
Okay.
And now I will tell you about one, but I believe when you start talking about all the good shit you're doing, now it's barter. Now you're getting the social clout of everything good that you did. Now it's no longer just for the act of doing it. So I do things anonymously. However, I started a 501c3 not-for-profit charity called Love Runneth Over. And it's in honor of my daughter who died 2 years ago. And it's to support families who are going through a really traumatic time in the neonatal intensive care unit and support babies who are born into this world medically complex and with a harder start to life. Now look, there's a lot of wonderful causes in the world. There's a lot of meaningful things. You can't do them all. So you kind of got to pick your lane. And our experience in the ICU, we were in the intensive care unit for a year across 4 different states. And we had a really intense time. And it was also wonderful and beautiful. And we got to meet all these doctors and nurses. And we got to, ultimately our daughter ended up with a cancer diagnosis. She was able to come home for about 8 months and she passed away at home. But that's really important to me to use my platform and use my resource to support those other families. So we match $100,000 a year in donations. It's all volunteer, no cost of administration. 100% of donations go directly to families of babies in need to help them get to and from the hospital, to help them pay their rent, to help them just like make that time easier. Because the interesting thing about the intensive care space for premature babies is it tends to affect families on the lower end of the economic spectrum. And then they may have other children. They may have jobs. They may not. Dude, we're in these hospitals.
They kind of spend time.
Yeah, there's 100 babies in there and we're the only fit because we have the resource to be there with our baby. And these babies, the doctors and nurses can only do as much as they can do. So these babies are alone and they think nobody loves me and they die. And the babies that have their parents by their side survive at much higher rates. So,
well, was it the most difficult year of your life?
Yeah, I think so. But also the most beautiful. It's the interesting thing about your ability to perceive as a human being is it doesn't happen, my experience is it doesn't happen in one way. It's like, was that the darkest, scariest, most intense, most painful year of my life? Yes. But also you expand like this. So on the flip side, it was the most beautiful, the most ability to experience joy and pleasure and presence and gratitude. It's like you expand in all directions. So like my capacity to feel pain increased my capacity to feel pleasure and joy. So it's like it was a
challenge and a gift. Yeah, at the same moment. Very beautiful, very interesting life story and business advice, etc. So thanks for the conversation. I still have like few wrapped questions.
It's what threw my whole shirt there, bro. Crazy. Where it's hot in Barcelona, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's hot, man. It should be hot here, and it's outside in studio. It's everywhere hot. So just rapid fire questions, if you may, just one sentence, not more. So, what is the best practice you think social is a trap? Could be about marketing, about business, about life. But people think this is the best practice I have to follow, but actually, it's a trap.
We'll keep on the mindset, which is people think they need to be interesting. They need to have cool stories. They need to do cool things. They need to have fancy tattoos.
But you want, by the way.
I do want my.
Yes, so that's today. It's today.
I got it. Yeah, yes, sir. It turns out that actually what is effective and compelling is being interested in your world, being interested in the people around you, being interested in how you can contribute, being interested, truly interested. is much more effective. Makes you interesting, actually.
Perfect. Is there any kind of tactics or ad that you hate, but it actually works?
Yeah, us versus them. I hate it. I hate the spawn word. Hate's a very strong word. I dislike strongly this idea that in order to get attention and sell stuff, you have to generate conflict and tell people that you're better than someone else. But god dang if it ever does work, man. It works so well.
Right. And is there anything like one thing that you thought completely different when you were young and now you're around your late 40s, yeah? Like 30s.
I'm already 30 years. I'm going to be 39 in 3 months. Been doing this for about 20 years. I always thought bigger is better. I don't think that anymore. I think the right size is the right size. Doesn't have to be huge. If it's fun and it's profitable, rock and roll, man. Like I bought a soap company on Amazon. They were doing 50 grand a year when I bought them. We're at about $500,000 now. We're going to grow. But it's like that company's never going to be giant. But it's a great product. It's profitable. And I love it. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. And it's a wonderful little business. And it's like,
Serves the world.
yeah, making profit. We're buying our stuff out of India at a sustainable factory that supports women over there. It's like awesome.
Perfect. Ezra, thanks for coming. It's been a great conversation. I have no doubts that, for all of you, you learned a lot and you had a good time listening to Ezra. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Omnisend, y'all. Go out there, get yourself signed up to Omnisend, get your emails, get your SMSs, get your automations, get your merchandising in order. I will tell you about Omnisend. They will help you. It's not, you can't say that about all the big platforms out there right now. You can actually reach somebody and talk to them and get support. If you have issues, they will help you. That is like amazing. And their platform is really good. I'm on there. I'm doing webinars, education for Omnisend, talking about what we're doing in our businesses, how we're leveraging it to make money and profit. Hope you join us. And there is a coupon. If you join under me, I think it's like you get 30% off for the first 3 months. You can use the coupon code Ezra and sign up. And then that way I will know that you came from me and then we can be friends. So thanks.